Ah,
Yeah, we're here. It's like one or the other for me for some reason.
good morning.
Good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Welcome to Real Estate Know-How with Keller Williams. Keller
Hi
Williams
there.
Southwest. And our co-host, so we're working a different co-host every month, all part of the Champions for Charity team. And Justin Duffield is our co-host for the month of June. And he will be bringing on his guests and he will do the interviewing on them. Amy is our technical support. So if we have any difficulty with Facebook or with the presentation or anything, Amy's here to help us with that. Otherwise, you don't get to hear a lot from her unless she has a comment or something she wants to say. So, Justin, let's introduce your guest.
Great, thanks. Good morning to everybody. Hey, I'm here actually to introduce Miss Vanessa Mencinas. She is with Home USA Mortgage. She's someone I've worked with in doing home loans with buyers, and I really appreciate her service to not only, the communication between me and her. However, I also know I can trust her with my clients. So I thought she'd be a great candidate to come on here and give us a little information about the current lending practices and what people can to look forward to or prepare themselves with. So good morning, Vanessa. How are you?
Good morning, Justin. I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Sure. Hey, I want to just jump right in and ask you about the company you represent, the company you work for, Home USA Mortgage. Can you tell me a little bit about them?
Of course. So yes, I work for Home USA Mortgage. So we're located right here in Sugar Land. We've been in business for about 20 years. We're operated and owned family business by brothers. And so we've served this area for quite a long time. We consider ourselves like a boutique mortgage company. And so what that means is we're going to be kind of your hybrid between your big bank and a lender. So what this does is it gives us a ton of access to be able to have super competitive rates and fees for our clients. But more than that, we actually really tailor our experience for our clients from start to finish. And that's what we pride ourselves on. One of the things that I love about working for this company is everybody is extremely passionate about taking care of our clients. 100%.
That's awesome. I know those two brothers and I like them very well, Mike and Charlie. Those are some good guys. I actually like everybody over in your office. It's just a great group of people you're working with, yourself included. And I've always appreciated you. And what I've always appreciated you in is how you work with the clients, with our buyers, when they're preparing to purchase a home. I like the way you communicate with them, you stay on top with them, whenever they have questions. And I just want to kind of hand the ball back to you real quick and ask you, what are some of those things that you're hearing from them? And what are some of the things that buyers should do to prepare when they're starting the process and, they're getting with me and then I'm touching base with you? What should they start doing to prepare themselves for the home purchase?
Of course. So I always think that there's at least 3 things they need to keep in mind when they're looking to start the process and just thinking about buying a house. One, they want to take a look at their income. What's their work history like for the past 2 years? Do they have any gaps in employment? And if they do, can we explain those? How do they get paid? Is it salary? Do they get paid hourly? Do they have a history of bonus and commission? These are all really important questions that are going to come up. So if the buyer starts taking a look at their own personal situation, they'll be prepared for that. As far as income goes, if they're self-employed, they want to start thinking about how they're reporting their income on their taxes. Something a lot of self-employed borrowers run into is everybody wants to take the most deductions on their taxes, right, to lower their tax liability. But when it comes down to a mortgage, only a few of those deductions can get added back in. So that's something to be conscious of as a buyer and just thinking about getting into purchasing a home. The next thing from there I would say is credit. So credit is everything whenever you're trying to get financing, right? So when is the last time that this buyer has looked at their credit report? Is everything reflecting correctly on there? Are there any surprises? Is their credit score where they want it to be? And so mortgages are no different. The higher the credit score, the better your terms are going to be. So this is just something that you want to be prepared for. And if there's anything that we need to work on there, the sooner the better on credit is going to work in their favor. In addition to that, I would say they would want to take an assessment of what their savings are. for the total purchase transaction, and really kind of assess it. Is this money that they have on hand? What's their budget for what they want to purchase? And what are they going to be receiving a gift from somebody? So these are all kind of questions, just thinking about it in the future before getting the process started. Those are really the three main components they want to start thinking about before starting the application process or getting in touch with you to locate the right property.
That's really good information. Those are good things to think about when they're in that process. And I like that you mentioned like a gift, right? So, and then making sure their savings accounts, because that's for lack of a better term, it's all under scrutiny, right? It's all being looked at, right? So
Correct.
It's important they can account for every dollar they have in the bank account, as well as what they're going to be using for their down payment, where that money has come from. If it's coming from mom and dad, and it's a great gift from maybe uncle or something, that's something that's going to need to be explained. Am I right?
Yes, correct. Yes. So there's definitely a process for gift. And real quickly, I'll just explain it. You're always going to want to document where the funds are coming from, who the donor is, a relative. And then we're going to get a letter saying that this is a true gift and not a loan. So yes, and no mattress money for any savings or down payment or, for the transaction. It doesn't work. So if you have any, put it in your bank account now.
You start seasoning that money right away. I got you.
Yes, exactly.
Good deal. Great tips.
Exactly.
Thanks. Hey, you know what? I've had cases where people have come and said, I have a pre-approval, and then some people say I have a pre-authorization, and I'm just, it's kind of confusing about which is which. And are those two different things? Because they sound the same. They sound like they should be the same. You of all people should know, you can tell us what the difference is. Clear my mind on that, because even me, as I'm doing this on a daily basis, I'm still not really sure which is what. I get them mixed up. Can you clear me up?
Of course. Yeah, so people usually run into two of those. It's going to be a pre-qualification, which is short for pre-qual, and then a full-on pre-approval. So the difference between a pre-qualification is normally that's just a conversation that's had between somebody who's looking to buy and a lender. They're telling them what their terms are, maybe what their income is, maybe an idea on their credit score, but it usually does not involve a full-on credit check. So pre-qualifications are really going to go based on the information that the borrower is giving the lender. Now, if that information is inaccurate and that lender chooses to issue a pre-qualification letter, then that doesn't really mean anything to anybody involved in the transaction. And it can be dangerous, especially when you're making an offer on a house. What I prefer are definitely full-on pre-approvals. So full-on pre-approvals are going to be filling out a mortgage application, getting the documents necessary to the lender so they can review them. So we're talking about your pay stubs, your W-2s, 1099s, tax returns, bank statements, because we're going to verify the entire picture. We're going to make sure that you're ready to go before issuing that pre-approval letter. And what it's going to do is just give the buyer as well as the agent a ton of confidence into making that offer and proceeding in the transaction. So always, always, always recommend a full-on pre-approval.
Okay, well, that makes sense. So a pre-qual is essentially a maybe, kind of, and a pre-approval is a yes. We're solid.
Yes,
we've done all the background check. Okay, well, that makes sense. If I can just keep those two words in two different departments in my mind, I can remember that for a little longer. Thanks. I'll probably ask you that next week.
and Justin, thank you for asking that, because, somebody watching this on our Facebook Live, which is going live right now on the Keller Williams Southwest page, I think that was a great question, and thank you for that answer. It's very, very well done. So thank you, Justin.
Sure. Hey, I also wanted to ask you, because I don't want to say that the industry is saturated. However, there are quite a few, just like with realtors, there are quite a few mortgage lenders and officers out there. Can you tell me why they would work with you and your company over any of those others that are out there begging for business?
Yeah, of course. So I definitely think that in any transaction, it's going to come down to the experience and the value that you're going to get out of the person that you're working with, right? So I think what we offer is that one-on-one experience. Here, whenever we sign up to do a transaction with a customer, we're working with them one-on-one. And personally, I, as the loan officer, am going to complete that process with the client. They don't get passed off to a processor. They don't get passed off to a closer that you might have like in a big bank scenario. We work start to finish, and I'm their primary contact for everything. Other than that, I would think it would be coming down to really understanding what their needs are up front. So purchasing a house is a huge transaction. There are a lot of questions involved, and some buyers want either more guidance or education than others, especially if it's their first time purchasing a home. So that's something that I really pride myself on, is answering those questions, making sure that they understand what's going on throughout the process, and just guiding them if they'd like that. I think the variety of solutions that we offer is also really, really important. Making sure that you ask the right questions up front to your client. What are their goals? What are their needs? What are they looking to accomplish long term? How long do they think they're going to be in that property? Those are things that I really get thorough with so I can understand and then make the best recommendation on the solution for them. And what I run into with buyers is going to be, in real estate, if you've never had a bad transaction, it's fabulous. But if you have, you know what can go wrong. And you know how having the right people on your side really makes a difference in the outcome of the experience that you're going to have, and then also getting to the closing table. So those are the things that I think kind of differentiate Home USA Mortgage and how we operate and taking care of buyers.
I can definitely attest to that. Thank you for answering that question.
Yeah.
I have seen this scenario so many times where the buyer wants to go through the bigger bank, and just like you're saying, they have that kind of, the big banks are really honing in on that hometown feel or that small town feel where you can go in and talk to somebody. However, as soon as the initial paperwork is done and there, the pre-authorization, the pre-qualify is done, and then we get a contract, it's soon shot to another department. That department is not necessarily in the back of that building. It's in like North Carolina or somewhere else. And then trying to get North Carolina on the phone, they don't seem to answer. Nor if you do get them on the phone, do they really know what's going on? Because the communication between departments isn't always great. So that's been a big trouble I've found too with the larger banks as well. And of course, we don't seem to close on time. They have a lot of
that's a big
there's
one.
a lot of things that they just don't seem to get done. And a lot of times what I find is buyers don't really realize the impact that has on the transaction and how that's holding up a lot of times the seller of that home, because they're moving on to another home and purchasing elsewhere. And if they can, a lot of times they need the proceeds from this sale to fund the next one, right? So it's always, I'm always trying to paint that picture. Like if you can just see it from the other side, the seller may get upset. And a lot of times in certain price ranges, they may have a backup offer. They may have had 4 other people say, I like that house, let me know if something happens. So as soon as they see a glitch, and get nervous, they may shoot right over and go to one of those other guys if we can't close on time. And it's sad to say, but I've seen it happen. I've seen that happen. So that's one of the things. I'm so glad you said that, because that is truly one of the main reasons I love working with someone local, is I can literally walk in and say, Vanessa, look you in the eyes and say, Vanessa, what's going on with A, B, or C file, right? What's happening? Tell me what's new. And and that's what I love, that's what I really love about working with you and everybody in that office is, you're on top of your files. You're not like, let me look that up. Let me find out. You're not just bogged down with like 100 files that don't mean anything to you. You've taken a personal, attachment to each of these files, because you've sat down in the office with us. You've talked to these buyers and these clients. So they're your clients as well. They're not the company's clients, and they're just floating through your department. I think that's something, I know I appreciate that in all aspects when I'm the consumer. Right. I like when I'm not just another transaction floating through their department. I like when the person knows and remembers my name. And when I ask a question about my situation, they know it. So that I can definitely appreciate. And that's the picture I paint to my buyers as we're going into the process. So thank you for holding that integrity and, maintaining, not making me a liar. When I tell them that, thank you for making me look good by doing exactly what I say.
I was going to say, so Justin, she makes you look good. And one of the things, absolutely. And one of the things I'm getting from your conversation with Vanessa is, wow, from the time that I go to buy a home until I sign and go to the title company and all that, there's a lot of involvement, a lot of work that you guys do. So So thank you all for the work that you do, and this is great. So Justin, any more questions for Vanessa?
No, just are you available? And next Monday I'm meeting with the new buyer. We can talk about that. We can talk about that later.
That's awesome.
That's really all
we're
I have
doing
to talk
business
about.
right here on Facebook Live. That's great.
Anywhere and
Always.
everywhere, pretty much. So
it's been
good.
great. Yeah. So
I want to thank you, Vanessa, for coming on and sharing what's going on today in real estate. The markets have, or the interest rates have dropped dramatically over this time last year, right? Isn't that great? Because the gloom and doom last year, I remember, was inflation. Inflation is just getting worse and worse, and then all of a sudden, somebody cut the legs off, and it looks great now. And then we're seeing a great impact on our market as the flow of buyers come through this year over last year, and that's been great. So I really thank you for coming on and sharing your wisdom and sharing what's going on right now and your experiences with those most likely buyers in the market. You've been great.
Thank you for having me.
And Vanessa, thank you very much. I agree with Justin. Thank you for, your authenticity. We showed your website while you were talking. So tell us exactly what the link is to your website.
Yes, to our website, it's going to be homeusa.com. You can click on the team tab, and then you can see everybody that I work with. And then there you can also apply. So right on our website.
Oh, got it. Okay. So there they are. And there's the team. What a great looking team.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. So if you're looking for, first of all, if you're watching this, get in touch with Justin. So he'll be the one that brings in Vanessa. So that's a great way that works. So thank you again, Vanessa. Amy, thanks for helping us with technology today. And Justin, you're doing great. I love you have all these questions together. You're doing awesome. So thank you all very much. And we will see you next week, next Friday, 10 a.m. for Real Estate Know-hoW with Keller Williams. And Justin will continue to be our co-host for the month of June. So thank you for joining us this morning. If you have any questions, put them in the comments, and Justin will be watching. Or we'll be watching if it's posted on our site. So we'll forward those questions to you, Justin.
Sounds good to me. Thanks.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye now.